Tonight we're interviewing Anchorage School Board candidates on the April 1st municipal ballot. We've just heard from the candidates for seat C. Now we'll hear from two candidates for seat D, Cameron Perez-Verdia and Don Smith. We'll begin with Cameron Perez-Verdia.
Hi, well Dacia, thanks so much for having me here today, and let me tell you a little bit about who I am and why I'm running for the school board. My name is Cameron Perez-Verdia. I've been serving on the school board now for the last year, and I'm running to retain my seat. I was born and raised in Alaska. I'm originally from Point Barrow. I'm the son of educators. My mother and father, Jess and Shirley Holloway, worked as educators, teachers, and administrators in Alaska for more than 50 years. I'm the father of two children who will soon go into the Anchorage School District, and education is my passion. It's what I love to do. It's what I do for work. It's what I talk about all the time. And for the last 20 years, I've worked to improve education in Alaska, both in rural and urban environments. I currently serve as the Director of Education for United Way. You know, this election really is about a choice between the past and the future. I think we need to make sure that we have strong public schools for all of our children. I want to make sure that we have leaders we can trust, who bring experience in education, business, and an understanding community. I want to make sure we have leaders that are balanced and make decisions based on good information and listening to both sides, not based on ideology or an agenda. And finally, and most importantly, I want to make sure that we have leaders that focus on kids, because ultimately that is the most important role of a school board member. So again, my name is Cameron Perez-Verdia, and I would appreciate your vote on April 1st for the Anchorage School Board.
Thank you.
Sure.
So you're a relative newcomer. You were appointed to the board last April, after Gretchen Guess resigned. What have you learned in that brief time period, and why did you decide to run again?
Well, you know, when I went through the process of being appointed, you're not 100% sure what it's going to be like. But what I can tell you is that I love it. It's messy, it's challenging, it's an incredible amount of work, but it's exactly the kind of work that I want to be doing. And if I were to think of two things that I've really learned, I've learned that we are in a financial mess right now, and we need people on the school board who have a real understanding of both how to manage financial planning and how to make sure that we're doing the best thing for our schools and our community. So that really is going to take somebody who's willing to work hard and learn a lot and be really open to new things. The second thing that I've learned is that we have amazing schools. Do you know that 90% of our parents recommend their school to someone else? I've been to schools, I've been to 26 schools over the last 35 days, and I have seen amazing teachers, principals, I've talked with parents. And so it's important, I think, that we talk about our challenges as a district, because we certainly do have those, but we have some of the most amazing teachers, parents, school leaders in the world from my perspective.
So you've been on the board for a year, and you've witnessed this first budget process,
Yes.
and including cutting $23 million.
That's right.
That was difficult. I was there at those meetings. You made some very difficult choices. How is the school district doing? How is the board doing with cutting those millions? Are they doing a good job, a not so good job? What would you do differently?
Well, first of all, this is incredibly difficult, and I think for most people out there, it's very concerning. It's concerning to parents, it's concerning to business leaders who want to make sure that we have a strong economy, and part of that strong economy is having a strong public school system. So I think, first of all, it's important to recognize that this is really tough. So the process that we went through really was having conversations with the community, having conversations with teachers, and really trying to gather as much information as we possibly can. You know, I think that the process could have been done better. It was my first time through, and I've learned a lot from that, and I certainly will use that new learning as we go into another year. But I think the best way to say it is that it's really tough. And it's really important that we're both making smart decisions in terms of how we're spending our money. One of the things that I've really advocated for is looking at aligning our funding, making sure that as we set goals for a district that we are spending our money as it relates to those goals, so that we're really focusing on the most important elements of our school district. But the other piece is that we need to be advocates. As school board members, we need to speak up for public schools. We need to speak up for parents and teachers and kids. So those are two things that I've learned, and I think as I go into my next year, it's going to be really important that we improve our budget process, but that we also make sure that we're letting Juneau know that we need to fund our schools, and we need it now.
And what about Governor Parnell's proposal to raise the base student allocation by $85 over 3 years
Right.
per student funding? It's a step toward helping ASD get on solid financial ground, but is it enough?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the governor for opening up the conversation, because prior to his presentation, we weren't even talking about BSA. It was tough to even use those 3 letters. But after his presentation, it was no longer whether we should raise the BSA, but how much. So that's a wonderful conversation to have. How much should we be increasing the BSA? My perspective and the perspective of the Anchorage School Board is that it's not enough. We just passed a resolution last night requesting a $400 increase in the BSA this year and a $125 increase in the 2 following years. So we really feel like that's the amount of money that we need right now to be able to not make all the reductions that we're planning on making. So no, it's not enough, and we need to have that conversation. But we also need to make sure that we're communicating that as a district, we are targeting our funding to high-value projects and really looking at how we can spend our money very wisely. And we are improving our metrics. Our graduation rate, as I mentioned, has gone up, and it will continue to go up as long as we are funding our schools.
And what about inflation-proofing the BSA? There's been talk about that. Is that something that you're going to push for?
Yes. Well, I mean, as a board, we haven't taken a stance on that, but I can tell you that it's incredibly important, because each year we're having this conversation, and we're trying to figure out how to manage an enormous school district with 48,000 students and trying to make decisions to plan for the next year when we don't know what our funding is going to be. It's incredibly important that we stabilize funding, so at least we have a sense of what's coming and we can plan for it. It's so disruptive to parents, again, and teachers and students to not know what is going to happen next year, each year. And it's been like that for the last 4 years now, and we need to stop. We need to stabilize our funding, we need to increase our BSA, and we need to get back to our job, which is educating students for life and making sure that they're ready for their jobs and for college and for all of the things that we do as a school district.
What if the BSA isn't raised? How are you going to prioritize cuts? I mean, that could happen, right?
Sure. And what we've done, and this is why I think, next year, I've been very vocal on the board about how we can improve our budget process. I think it's really important that we use data, and we look at both data in terms of metric data, numbers and that sort of thing, but also qualitative data. We need to talk with people and gather in information, but we need to make our decisions in terms of how we reduce our budget and where we do that based on good information. And so that's what I'm going to plan on doing next year is working on developing a process so that we can actually have a clear and informed process for how we make those decisions. And I can tell you that it's not easy. I mean, we wish that there was a science to this, but at the very least, we can make sure that our decisions are informed.
We know that a big driver behind these budget issues is personnel costs.
Yes.
And healthcare specifically.
That's right.
It's been reported that it's rising as much as 18% a year.
Yep.
Given that, what are your ideas for controlling and managing that cost?
Well, healthcare is incredibly an important topic for us because it is the #1 driver that is increasing our costs. But it's also incredibly important to have quality health care for our teachers and our staff. And so one of the things that we've done is first of all, in our latest negotiation with the teachers union, we held healthcare costs to at or below inflation. So we made a very strong statement that we need to start to control those costs. And second, we've started to investigate how we as a district can begin to work with companies and corporations throughout Alaska and looking at possible ways for us to pool. We're looking at all kinds of creative ways of lowering costs. We have to, because if these costs could continue to rise, we're going to be cutting extreme amounts from our schools, and it's really going to hurt our kids.
So does ASD have enough control over its budget, in your opinion, yes or no? And if you had more control, what would you do differently?
It's a good question, because I don't think most people know that we don't control a great deal of our revenue. Those decisions are made often by the state and by the municipality. We also don't have a great deal of control over some of our spending, because there are state mandates and federal mandates that we have to follow. So the school district is a very interesting body, because we can make some decisions, but what we're really between a rock and a hard place in terms of trying to really make innovative choices. But I do think within that space we can make better decisions. And a good example is, right now you'll hear from others that the cost of education in Alaska has gone up consistently year by year. But what they won't often tell you is that the cost that's going to the classroom has gone down. The money going to capital projects and our unfunded liability is why it seems like that we're spending more and more and more. And so I think those are two areas that we need to have more of a conversation on, especially our capital projects. When we as a school district go through the process of vetting those and making decisions about those and working with our legislatures about those, we need to make sure that when we're cutting $23 million and approving a $56 million bond, that confuses our public. So we need to, I think, have more of a conversation about that and make sure that we're spending all of our available money better.
So you feel you should work within the system that's here now?
Absolutely. I think but I think I think the system has lots of problems, and I think you need somebody who's in there who has the financial understanding and has the systemic understanding to be able to advocate for change. We need some significant changes within the Anchorage School District. I don't want to come across as saying that it's all great. We need to improve. We need to be more efficient. We need to use technology better. We need to really be thinking of how we can prepare our schools for the future, because we can't continue to run them the same way we are now. It's just not financially feasible.
So let's turn our attention now to performance. The Common Core standards, the Anchorage School District adopted them in 2012. Are they working? Do we know yet?
I don't think we really know yet. We're just in the process of aligning curriculum, aligning assessments, beginning training on them. But what I can tell you is that Common Core standards do a few things for us. One is that we have a 25% transient rate within the Anchorage School District. That means 1 in 4 students that start at the school don't end at that school. We also have had very low standards over the past decade. Our high school qualifying exam is at the 7th grade level, and we're not really setting the kinds of standards that are preparing our kids for success in life. And so the Common Core standards do two of those things. They raise our standards, they allow for more consistency within our schools. And the other thing that most people don't know about Common Core standards is that they, rather than going an inch deep and a mile wide and covering a lot of material, they identify key areas that are relevant to real life, relevant to work and relevant to college, and they go deep. So it's an opportunity for our teachers to really focus into some of the key areas that are preparing kids for college and the workforce.
Real quick, graduation rates and dropout rates, we've seen some positive changes there,
Yep.
Particularly this year.
Sure.
They've just been slowly inching toward getting better, the graduation rates. What do you attribute that to, and how can we keep that going?
Well, I think that it's a few things. I think that we have created our opportunities for students that are struggling, whether it's a behavior problem or whether it's a drug and alcohol problem or whether it's based on trauma or a lot of the things that kids bring to schools. And we've created alternative programs for them to go to if they're struggling. And I think that has helped us tremendously in raising that graduation rate. The other thing that we've done is we've created a system called RTI. It stands for Response to Instruction. And what it does is it looks based on assessments at individual students' needs. And so at school level, teachers and administrators can identify specifically where students need more attention. And so that they can be very targeted and focus specifically on those students. And I think that program has been a big part of why we've been able to raise the graduation rate.
All right, thank you. That was Cameron Perez Verdia. He's also running for seat D